Welcome back to TV5 News at 9. You know that music means we are back with another edition of Ask the Sheriff with the Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson himself. And Chris, it is so good to see you. How are you, my man?
I love it. I love my Friday mornings. I love hanging out with the Wake Up team. Thank you.
Yeah, we love having you here for sure. Now, I love your energy. Let's talk about something very important because April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. Your office works closely with Voices for Children.
Yes.
Tell us about that partnership.
Well, Voices is certainly not just our office, but also Lapeer and Shiawassee, and it's a child and family advocacy center. So when children are traumatized, sexual abuse, physical abuse, this is where Voices comes in. They are not only an aftercare facility, which I'll show you some of the things that they provide, but more importantly for law enforcement, they provide the forensic interview of the victim. Sadly, most of the evidence is gone by the time these cases come to law enforcement. So that forensic interviewer sits down at a small children's table and they start drawing and coloring, or maybe rolls on the floor with some of these young victims to just build that bond. That statement given is the case.
Can you tell us a little bit about Voices for Children just as a whole or organization?
Yeah, Voices is a 501c3 that was started nearly 20 years ago, and it was originally called the Weiss Advocacy Center. And after Judge Weiss, who was a probate judge, there was a great need in this county for those forensic interviewers. So they built out this organization that has now become Voices for Children, which is a combination of different services that once were singular, kind of existed in silos, and brought it all together. So whenever there's a case that comes to law enforcement, we immediately contact Voices. They work 24/7 on call and in the office, and they dispatch an interviewer to what we call the Big Blue House here in Flint. And we try to schedule that child as soon as possible to go in front of the interviewer and get the statement. And Voices is not only just here, but it's a statewide voice. They have such a great reputation. The hearts of those volunteers and that staff that work with other advocacy centers around the state are critical in our cases, and we have such a good rapport. And they're the champions, just like Whaley's, but they're the champions behind this month's Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, for child abuse as a whole, is this a common problem we are seeing not only in Genesee County, but all of mid-Michigan? How significant is this issue?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in anticipation of that interview question, I got some stats that are from our own area. And in 2019, this exact time of year, we had 96 complaints. 2021, exact time here, we are now 137 complaints.
Wow.
The Child Protective Services, which is part of the Department of Health and Human Services, they average about 225 complaints per month. So we certainly have a lot of work left to do. We see an uptick in the actual sexual abuse cases that Michigan is seeing for a lot of reasons. And that's why using your platform like you're doing to make aware that this problem exists. Sexual abuse and physical abuse, these cannot go unaddressed.
Absolutely, yeah, and glad to have you here to talk about it. So for people at home who are seeing this or perhaps see child abuse happening in front of them, what can they do to protect that child?
You know, I also want to say that you may give protection to someone who feels like they have no voice. So there's a greater calling for you to hear this message and have conversations with people you love. Talk to your kids that are in school, talk to your grandkids, your nieces, nephews, your neighbors, those that are in church situations where they have youth groups there. A lot of times victims don't realize that somebody's there to listen. They don't feel like anybody will listen. Sometimes victims, they pour in a lot of guilt internally. But also, there may be victims that are watching your program right now that have never stepped forward, and they've been living under this cloak of darkness. You have a voice. It doesn't matter where it happened, when it happened. We want to use this time to give you freedom, to break free from that pain. And if you call whatever sheriff's office or police departments in your community, certainly if you're in Genesee County, you call Chris and I will help you. But you need to get your story out there so we stop the pain. And that's what people need to do. Be aware and help give victims a voice.
Yeah, for sure. Chris, is there anything else that you wanted to share specifically to this topic?
Yeah, I think the best offense offense in this case is a great defense, and that's why we're bringing out this awareness. It's a national movement. I think it's very important that people show their support by wearing blue for the month or calling the Voices for Children and asking for a pinwheel. Support the program. It's obviously grant funded and donation funded. It's not a government entity. It's a volunteer group that also has been given funds to hire staff. They do an amazing job. So I'd encourage you to go to the website, Voices for CAC, voicesforcac.org, and you'll actually see how their site is well done. In fact, you can actually pop up that site, and there's a couple of safety measures that are built in. So we're very, very happy and pleased, and I encourage you to support them.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you again, Sheriff Swanson, for giving us a little bit more information on this. And it's been such a pleasure to learn about what your office is doing to make Mid-Michigan the best place to live. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great Friday.
Absolutely. And of course, for those at home, I want to encourage you as well. If you have a question you'd like to ask Sheriff Swanson, and nothing is off limits, send it to WNEM@WNEM.com.